So in this video, we're probably going to be talking about the simplest N8N automation build you'll ever see me create. Coincidentally, that also has the highest return on investment for you. You should be making 4 times the amount of money that you're currently making just by implementing this into your business. Don't take my word for it. This is a Harvard review study in front of me, conducted in 2011, that said if you call somebody within 1 minute of them inquiring on your particular website here. So somebody comes to your website, they fill out a form inquiring about your services, you will increase your conversion rate by 391%. If you wait an extra minute and call them within 2 minutes, that's going to decrease by 231%. So just imagine how many more sales you can make if you just call somebody slightly faster than you currently are. Now, if you wait 24 hours over here, this is going to drop to 17%. And you might be thinking, well, who's going to call in 24 hours? Well, the reality is that the average response time for business owners is a shocking 42 hours after somebody inquires. And in a nutshell, 78% of customers go with the first person that they hear back from. So in other words, the goal here is that you should be calling these people ASAP, because if you don't, you're leaving money on the table. And if you do, you're going to be making up to 4 times the amount of money that you're currently making right now. And how we're going to be building this out is through N8N. Okay. And we are going to be building out this exact scenario here. It's so freaking simple to build out. Let's go ahead and test this out so you can see just for yourself just how easy this actually is. I have this sample form in front of me. I'm just going to click send here. And in a matter of a couple seconds, our workflow is going to start. Now, within 5 seconds, like forget 60 seconds, in a matter of 5 seconds, I have my phone in front of me here. I'm going to receive a phone call from my CRM. And this phone call is going to automatically connect me into a call with my client. You can see it just started ringing, so that's about 15 seconds afterwards.
Jono Catliff just inquired about your services. Please press any key on the keypad to connect into a call with Jono.
Sweet, so I can press any key on the keypad. It's gonna start ringing, and you can see on my phone now that it's actually calling the client. Now I put in my phone number, so I'm technically the sales agent and the client. I'm just gonna go ahead and send this to voicemail because I actually don't wanna talk to myself on the phone right now. But you kind of get the point, right? Is that you can call incredibly freaking quickly with a system like this. By the time they have their finger leaving the keypad of hitting submit on that freaking quote button on your particular page here, they can already receive a phone call. And so with this being said, there's just one other addition here. With Go High Level, we're using Go High Level here. This does cost a bit of money. You don't have to have this set up. This is just an example of one of countless ways you can set this up. With Go High Level, it's, I think, $97 a month to get started here. If you join my school community, I literally give this away pretty much for free. I just charge $1 because I technically can't even charge people $0 to set this up automatically. But that's one way. You can just find another CRM to use, or you can set up a Telegram trigger here. And how this works is that instead of automating the call, what you can do is you can send yourself a notification, and as soon as you get that notification, then you give that person a call. So I can go ahead and test this out so you guys can see what this looks like. So I'm gonna send the notification. And that is Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. I know that sounds crazy, but I love to separate the ringtone for leads and personal life just so that I can have some distinction and I know what I'm walking into when that lead comes through the door. And so this is a very simple way of doing that. On my phone right here, I actually have all of the information from that client. I'm not sure if you guys can see it or not, but I have like the first name, the email, the phone number. I could just tap the phone number, get on a call, again within like 15 seconds of that person inquiring. Now we're going to be building this out from the ground up today. It's a very simple build. If you guys want to download the blueprints absolutely for free, you can come into, you can go into the description, download it for free. And then once you've downloaded it, you can hit these three dots in the corner and import from a file. And you're going to have the exact blueprints that you see in front of you right now, absolutely for free in your account, so that you can start using it in a matter of a couple seconds. Now, if you guys like content like this, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel, because I'm going to be releasing tons of additional content just like this video as well. With that being said, let's dive into building this right now. All right, so let's go ahead and build this out. I first want to start with the trigger here. Now you'll notice that this is a webhook. What a webhook is it's just a fancy way of saying we're receiving data from somewhere else. Specifically, that somewhere else is going to be a quote form. So if somebody comes to my website, for example, they're probably going to inquire about a quote form. This is a place where I can accept their first name, last name, email, and phone number, and any other qualifying questions. And then once they submit this button down here, it's going to start this workflow here. Now, let's go ahead. Let's build this out from scratch. So I'm going to start a new workflow here. And in this instance, I'm going to build this as simply as possible. Instead of even doing the webhook, we can have our own form submission in N8N. So if I click on form submission, I can now just create a form straight from within N8N. And I'm also going to quickly show you guys how you can do this from another platform like WordPress, for example. So if you host on WordPress or somewhere else, no problem. I'll show you that really quickly as well. But we're going to start with the on form submission in N8N because this is the easiest way to do it. So I'm just going to title this quote form and get our pricing and FAQ or whatever. And the only fields that we want is the first name, we want the last name, we want the email, and we want the phone number. And this is how we're going to call them. Okay. And then apart from that, that looks good to me. We can go ahead and test the step out. And here we go. We have our quote form here built automatically in N8N. This can start this workflow just like this. So that's one way of doing it. Okay. And I'm going to stop listening here and I'm going to build out the webhook because I would assume that most of you guys already have a website, you already have a form on there, and you probably don't want to rebuild the wheel from scratch. You might want to use an existing form. So a lot of the times with any reputable form builder, they're going to have webhook functionality. How we access webhook functionality in N8N is by adding another trigger down here, and we're going to go into the webhook call. Now, like I was saying, pretty much all of these forms form builders have the ability to send data from this form submission into some other place like N8N. I mean, that's the whole point of a form is you collect the information and you do something with it, right? And so in Elementor here, I have the ability to create an action after submit, and I can choose from the drop down here webhook. So if I go in here, I can choose webhook. Now, I would assume a lot of you guys are not using WordPress and you're not using Elementor, but this setup is going to be universal across almost all of these different applications. They're going to have in the settings or in the integrations tab the ability to create a webhook, and then all you have to do is find that. And then once you've found the webhook functionality, then it's going to say, hey, submit a webhook URL, and it's going to be empty. And we can just come back into N8N and we just grab the webhook here. Just keep in mind, we need to change this from get to post in the HTTP method, and we can go ahead and do that, and now it's going to work. The distinction here is that when you're sending data across the internet, there's multiple things you can do with that data. For instance, you can create things with that data, you can update things with that data, you can delete things with the data, or you can retrieve things with the data. And we want to create something. We're creating a form submission. We're creating that data in N8N from our form. So we need to choose the post method here. And so that looks good to me. Now, when we actually, we can connect this in by copying this particular post URL here, or this URL, and we'll go back to our form submission, and then we'll paste it in this URL box right here, okay? And then that's number one, done. We can publish it, and we're good to go. And so now, if I was to come back here and fill this form out, it's going to receive the data automatically within N8N. So let's go ahead and let's try this out. I'm just going to type in a random number here. And before we submit it, I just want to make sure that we're actually listening for events down here. So we'll listen for events, and we're waiting for a form to be submitted. We'll click send here. We'll come back in. We've received the information on this side. Beautiful. So everything's good. We got the first name, Jono, last name, Catliv, email, jono@gmail.com, phone, this, and so on and so forth. And it's the same deal with this form submission here. Like, it's just a lot easier because instead of you having to send data from an existing form like this into N8N, this is just like a 2-for-1 deal where instead of having to do both steps, you just have to do one and then you're good to go. And so that's more or less it. You can use either one of these and it should work out of the box. I'm just gonna go ahead with the webhook here. The next thing that we wanna do is we just wanna connect this into our CRM here, which would be, in my case, it's gonna be Go High Level. I'm gonna start with that, okay? And then afterwards, I'm going to talk about how you can do this without Go High Level, because I just want to show you how powerful this is first. I'm not going to spend too long on it because I understand that it's a high cost to actually getting started. Again, you can get in my community and get a $1 per month account, and that's an option as well. With that being said, with Go High Level, what we want to do here is we want to create a automation. Now, Go High Level, similarly to N8N, has an automation builder. I'm not going to build this. I'm just going to explain how this works and then demo it. Essentially, you can have an inbound webhook. This inbound webhook is the exact same as this. We're just sending data from somewhere else into Go High Level. In this case, that somewhere else is N8N. So we're sending data from here over here, and then we're just going to call the person. Okay, and so how we do this is we need to send data, just like we did with the webhook from the form. We're going to choose the module HTTP, and this now sends data from N8N somewhere else. And again, because we're creating a contact, we're going to change the method here to post, otherwise this will not work. And then we have a URL, and we need to figure out, okay, well, where are we sending data to? We're going to send data to this URL, so we have to paste that in here. And where we get that is in this inbound webhook trigger here. I'll go ahead, copy this, and paste it in the URL section here. And all I want to do is just add a body. What this is saying is we're going to add in additional information. Like I want to add in the person's name and last name and email and phone number and all that kind of stuff. So we're just funneling data from our form submission, okay? And again, this is what the form submission is. We're just taking this data, like the first name, last name, email, and phone number. We're passing that into N8N, and then we're going to send that straight into Go High Level here. And so let's go ahead, let's do that. We're going to add 4 variables or parameters here. First is going to be first name, then it's going to be last name, email, and then we're going to do phone. Okay, perfect. And we can just map out these values. Mapping just means we're dragging it from here to here and here to here. So let's go ahead and do that. And this is going to be the data that we send to Go High Level. Okay, perfect. So this looks good to me. And now what we can do here is we can just make sure that first of all in Go High Level, we create this contact, which is by default something we have to do. And we just create the contact, email, phone, first name, last name. We're going to assign a user to it, which is going to be the sales rep, and then we're going to call that person. So I'm going to go ahead and test this out by clicking the test workflow button here, and then we can go ahead and give this a shot. We're going to type in this information. Okay, I'm going to send the results here, and this has been sent off. And now we can see that it's been successfully sent into Go High Level, and now I'm receiving that phone call. Okay.
Catliff just inquired about your services. Please press any key on the keypad to connect into a call with Jono.
Sweet. So that's that. That's the first part of this done. Now the second part is maybe we want to send this data into somewhere like Google Sheets, because maybe we want to have a record of these people. And so what we're going to do is we're going to select another module and choose Google Sheets here. And what I want to do is I just want to create a spreadsheet just like this with a list of all of the leads that come in the door. And we can check off, after every day, it's like how many people have we called, who have we not called. Maybe we want to actually keep that in here or track that. We can append, and append is just a fancy way of saying add. I don't know why they say append. I mean, it's just like the most complicated way of saying add. But we can append a row in Google Sheets. So we'll choose the sheet and the document that we want. And the sheet, it's just going to give us a list of all of our different sheets here. This is called N8N New Leads here. So I'm just going to select that from the Documents tab here. And then we have the sheet over here, which is just essentially the tab down here that we're going to select. And we only have one by default, so we're going to go ahead and choose sheet number 1, whether we want to or not. Okay, perfect. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to enter in this information. Now, I'm actually just going to turn this off, and I'm going to reset this form here, just because I have some sensitive data like my phone number in here, and I don't want to show that. So I'm going to go ahead and enter something else. Okay, perfect. And this is going to draw an error. And that's because we haven't entered in any information. So we can go down here and we can enter in things like the first name and things like the last name and the email and the phone number, and then we're good to go. We can go ahead and we can test this step out. And it looks like it just deleted all the data. And so in order for us to actually send this over again, we just need to fill out this form one more time. Awesome. There's nothing that I like more to do with my time than to fill out the same form over and over and over again. It just makes me so happy. It gives me so much joy. I'm just kidding. It's like one of the most brutal things about N8N possible. So we'll go ahead and send this off, and everything looks good. And we have now successfully added somebody, which you saw briefly there in real time being added in here. We could put in like things like the date too. How we do that is we just put in here, like we change this to expression over here, and we do curly brace, $. We can scroll down and click today. And this is just by default, like boilerplate to bring in the date here. This is just what the result is going to be. Okay, sweet. So lastly, what we could do is, if we didn't want to use Go High Level here, we could send ourselves a message straight through Telegram. And the reason I say Telegram is just because it's really easy to set up inside of N8N. It's probably one of the easiest messaging platforms. Now, you can choose whatever you want. You could do WhatsApp here as well. And I'm not going to do this because this is just going to double or triple the length of this video. So I just want to focus on something that's super easy. And so we're going to use Telegram here. And what we really want to do is we want to send a message, okay? And we're going to send a text message back. And what we're going to do is we're going to send ourselves a message here. Now, the problem is that we, first of all, don't have a chat, and we also don't have a chat ID here, and we have to create these things. So we have to do that first. So I'm going to disable this. I'm also going to disable this, and I'm going to add at the top right here by clicking the plus button. I'm going to add another trigger, and this trigger is going to be Telegram. Okay, and we can choose any trigger we want here, but I'm going to choose on message. And the reason why is because we need to first actually figure out the chat ID here. And there's no real native way to get the chat ID unless we first send a message. And so what we're going to do is we're going to send a message. And how we do this is by, first of all, creating an account in Telegram. And so we can create credentials down here, and we need an access token right here. But in order for us to get this, we need to go through their docs. Okay, and it's going to give us step-by-step instructions on how to do this, and those step-by-step instructions are going to be right here on using API bot access. First things first, we need to go over to the bot father. This cracks me up every single time I see it. What a perfect name. And it's going to ask us to open Telegram. If you guys haven't done so already, then please go ahead and get a Telegram account. It's absolutely free. And then we're going to circle back and to our instructions here, and we need to type in this /new bot. So we'll go ahead and do that. and it's going to ask us for a name, and we just enter in a bot name. And I'm gonna type in bot father fan club here, just because I think that's hilarious. And then we need to add in a username, and the username can be the same thing as the name. We just need to add in like bot _ bot or capital B bot at the end here. So I'm gonna add that in, and looks like it was taken. So I'm gonna choose another one. Okay, let's try this again. Apparently that's actually a pretty popular one. Okay, awesome. So we're good to go. We've done everything. We just need to click this button here, and we're able to start a message here. Lastly, we actually need to get this access token before we actually start it, because it's not going to work. So if we circle back into this message here, here's the access token here. It says it like right here, and we just need to grab it out of the message here. So I'm going to copy that, paste it in here, and we're good to go. It's now been saved successfully. Okay. We can test this message and just wait until we receive something. All I have to do is hit this like link right here, and then we'll start the chat, and we have now received a message. That is all we need to do. This particular conversation here can be where we send messages to when we want to get notified of new leads. And so all we have to do is actually just grab this chat ID, and this chat ID is like the ID of this particular chat right here. And we can just enter this, we can disable this because that's all we need here. And we're going to enter the chat ID back in here. Okay, we will reactivate this. And all we need to do now is just enter in the message. And I also need to choose the right account here. So just make sure you choose the right account, enter in the chat message, and then we can enter in a message here. So I'm going to say new lead, and I'm going to change this to expression over here so that I can put a space here. And I'm going to say name, email, phone. And from here, I just paste in the person's information, and then we are essentially good to go. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to run this scenario. So we'll turn this webhook back on. We'll test the workflow. We'll send new information in. So Jono, hopefully this will be the last time I actually have to test this out. And if you're wondering why I don't just pin the data, because you can pin data right on the first module here by pinning it here, but for whatever reason, and it just has like a bug today, and anytime you pin the data, actually I think it's been this way all week, it just doesn't there we go, attaboy, there's Gandalf back again doing good work, letting us know that we have a new message coming in. And so that's more that's more or less it. That kind of surprised me there for a second. I was like, is that Gandalf in the background there? And we can just map in the first name. We can map in the last name. Awesome. Email and the phone. And in a matter of 10 seconds, you'll get that custom ringtone. You'll get the message with all of this information. And then, yeah, it's like, that's pretty much it. Let's test this out. Okay, it looks like it's throwing a bug here. So I'm going to just restart this whole workflow again, just because, again, NNN is not having a good week this week. And so I have to do everything manually, which is kind of the antithesis of what NNN is all about, but it's all good. We'll send it one more time. And looks like that wasn't turned on. So I'll send it one more time. Here's Gandalf for you one more time in case you wanted to hear his voice one more time before the end of the video. Okay, that was definitely... I lost all hope there for a couple of seconds. I thought it was going to be super underwhelming and it just wasn't going to work as I was demonstrating this. That's too funny. But yeah, that in a nutshell is how this works. And then we actually have the leads information coming in right here. So all you have to do is just essentially click the link there and then schedule the call. Now, this isn't a link on my computer, but it would be a link on your phone. So if you open this up on your phone, you can click the button and call them literally within 10 seconds. And this is going to increase your conversion rate up to 391%. If you call them really quickly, you can see just how fast this depreciates over time. Even 3 minutes, you're losing like 300%. And yeah, you can see just how important this is. People want an answer immediately, and this is only probably going to be polarized more and more as time goes on because, I just think people are going to come to expect this kind of stuff. So that's it for this video, guys. Really hope you found value in it. Try it out. Let me know what your thoughts are. This worked really well for my team. The biggest thing when I hire sales reps is I just tell them, it's like, look, the number one thing is just being available and calling somebody back within 60 seconds. For most businesses, especially service-based businesses, I find that they only get maybe a handful of leads every single day. And with those handful of leads, whether it's like 3 calls or 4 calls or 5 or whatever it is, the most important thing is just making sure that you're available and you pick up that phone immediately as soon as somebody comes to the door, because that's going to lead to obviously the best conversion rates, the most money in your pocket. Cool thing is you don't have to spend any extra time working. You're just doing what you're already doing already. You're just doing it faster. And so that's more or less it. If you guys found value in this and you're interested in learning more about automation and blueprints and all that kind of stuff, you can take a look at my school community over here. We started about a month ago. This is where you get access to all of my blueprints, all of my videos. There's over 100 other videos here that are released on YouTube. And I think one of the most important things here is probably the calendar, where you can jump on weekly calls and get help with live troubleshooting of the problems. I have so many people coming to me all the time being like, look, Jono, I just spent like 10 hours trying to solve this, and then we just work it out in like 5 to 10 minutes. And so that's one of the big advantages here, is that you can just win back a lot of your time by getting your problem solved and moving on and focusing on what really matters. So again, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate your time. Blueprints are going to be down below for free in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.